Hi, John 9 verse 25 continues with that guy whose sight Jesus healed. He replied, "Whether he is a sinner or not, I do not know. One thing I do know, I was blind, but now I see." Then they asked him, "What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes?" He answered, "I have told you already, and you did not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you want to become his disciples too?" So I think, in a sense, he was teasing them. But it makes sense to sort of ridicule them, because the truth hit them in the face. It was plain to see. The signs were clear. There was nothing to suggest that Jesus wasn't from God. Yet, they refused to accept him. And as I already mentioned, yes, looking back in hindsight, it's easy to see, taking into the Old Testament prophecies and scriptures into consideration, it's easy to see that it was Jesus. For them it must have been more difficult. But at the same time, if you see the signs, if you see all the things that had transpired, you can make a reasonable conclusion that this man was who he claimed he was. And I think we all had it in our lives that the truth was right in our face, but we refused to accept it. We refused to listen. I know I had a conversation with someone ages ago whereby I was telling them the story that there are instances, I watched this video, there are instances where people have been pronounced dead in hospitals in the West. So it wasn't like in a remote village when somebody looked like was dead and a couple of days later they woke up, which has happened, but they were pronounced by dead. The machines showed they were dead. There was no heart, brain activity, whatever. They were pronounced by that, and they even interviewed the doctors, and they did say that, look, I've seen many people die, I've seen many dead people, this person was dead. After praying, they came back. What is the explanation? And people will try to find naturalistic explanation. They won't let the divine foot in the door. So if you see something like miraculous, somebody survives an event, somebody survives an ordeal. There was this instance where a diver went deep down in the ocean, and he had oxygen for like 5 minutes, and he ended up surviving for a lot longer than about 40 minutes or something. He wasn't supposed to survive, yet he survived. And of course, the first thing that came to my mind was, that it was a miracle. But friends of mine were laughing and saying, yeah. But the first thing that we would say, non-believers, is that, oh, no, there's some naturalistic explanation. It can't be God, which I thought was kind of made me chuckle. Verse 28 continues. Then they hurled insults at him and said, "You are this fellow's disciple. We are disciples of Moses. We know that God spoke to Moses, but as for this fellow, we don't even know where he comes from." Well, I think what they really meant was, we do not want to know where he is from. We want to close our eyes to reality. We want to reject it. Excuse me. The man answered, "Now this is remarkable. You don't know where he comes from, yet he opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners. He listens to the godly person who does his will. Nobody has ever heard of opening the eyes of a man born blind. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing." To this they replied, "You were steeped in sin at birth. How dare you lecture us?" And they threw him out. In informal logic, in philosophy, there's something called ad hominem. And it means, typically, this term refers to a rhetorical strategy where the speaker attacks the character, motive, or some other attribute of a person, making an argument rather than attacking the substance of the argument itself. So what happened here is they couldn't attack his argument, they couldn't refute him, because they know what he said was true. As I've explained, they knew that someone who performs miracles like that had to come from God. But they still rejected him, so they started attacking his character, which is something interestingly. If you pay attention, you see that people use this every day. People use this rhetorical strategy all the time. The other thing I'd like to mention is that from using our own strength, we are not able to carry out the task God gave us to do. That's why you need faith. That's why you need to rely on Him. The other thing is, you might think you're doing something and you have the blessings of God, but if you don't, if He's not behind you in whatever endeavor you undertake, if He doesn't supply you His strength, if you don't have His blessing, then you will not be able to persevere. You will not be able to carry out that task. And that's how you know. Because unless you're motivated by money, perhaps you can carry on as long as you live. But if money is not a factor, if money is not a thing that could help you push forward, but you have to go through trials, for example, then the only thing that will sustain you is your faith in God and His strength and what He placed in your heart. So that's how you will know. If you do something, you'll know that you have His blessings. Whenever you are in a bad situation and you still want to carry on doing the thing, then you know that's from God. Amen.